All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back to the channel. Now we're going to talk about Ronda Rousey today. What are the odds of that? And like an actual relevant story, because we're going to talk about Juliana Pena, who called out Ronda Rousey. Genius call out. And also, this is like a legitimately good time for Ronda Rousey to come back. Like I could, at first when I read it, the reason I was going to do the video out of the gate was I was like, oh, Juliana Pena's got great fight game. We've got to commend her on that call out. That is really, that's an excellent indicator as it relates to what kind of champion she's going to be. Does she understand the business that she's in, or does she have good management, right? And clearly she does. And then I started thinking but wait a minute. This is actually a really good time for Ronda to come out of retirement. I mean, she just had a kid, so who knows? But if you just, remove what's going on in Ronda's, remove the most important part, which is is Ronda going to be able to fight? And just in terms of where the business is, this would be the perfect time for her to come back. Perfect time for her to come back. But anyway, that's what we're going to talk about. So, but also one other thing. What this demonstrated for Juliana Pena is something that can be applied across the board with new champions. I'm going to talk about that too. So if you like the content, subscribe and ring the bell. I'll tell you what. I have the virus, okay? Yesterday I was floored, okay? Yesterday I was way too sick to do anything. I watched Braveheart. I watched The King. Dude, The King on Netflix is way better than I thought it was going to be. Way better. I watched Braveheart for the first time in years, and I was so, sick. This is really what I was doing. I was really, watching it, but then inside I was like, yes! What's another one I could watch that I haven't seen? Someone recommended The King. That movie's a beast, man. That's a good flick. But yeah, I couldn't have done anything. And now I'm just barely on my feet, and I'm doing this video for you guys. So, show some appreciation for God's sake. Just subscribe to the channel. Or don't. No, but do. Anyway, so here's what I want to talk about out of the gate about the fight game and new champions. Okay, so Juliana Pena is a brand new champion, right? Now, she's got a big fight in an Amanda Nunes rematch, right? That would be a big fight. But here's the thing. When you're a new champion, you have one fight that you know for sure you're going to get back-end pay-per-view points on, okay? And that is not a small amount of money, especially if you're like Juliana Pena. I'm not going to speculate on what her contract is, but if she's making... Well, you know what? I'm just not going to speculate. But how big of a draw was Juliana Pena? I mean, no one gave her a chance against Amanda Nunes. She's in a different stratosphere now, right? But if she fought someone besides Amanda Nunes, right? What do you think that the impact on the pay-per-view is going to be with her versus that person? Not very much, okay? But what if she can get Ronda Rousey to come out of retirement to fight her? What's that pay-per-view going to do? It's going to do a lot. It's going to do a lot is what it's going to do. It's going to do bananas numbers is what it's going to do. And what does that do for her? A lot of dough. You know what else? So Ronda Rousey would be coming off of a how many year layoff? She just had a kid. If she can talk Ronda Rousey into a fight right now, that's your absolute best case scenario. That's your best case scenario. You got someone who lost their last two fights, who has years off, who just had a kid, who can generate by far the most amount of pay-per-views. That's the quadfecta right there. That's exactly the right person that you want to fight. And not only did she call her out, she did it by conjuring up old business. She conjured up old business. She's talking about on Ultimate Fighter, and she was like, yeah, I was on Team Misha, so Ronda didn't like me. And there was a time when Ronda said to Juliana Pena, you'll give me a tougher fight than Misha Tate will, but I'll still kick your ass. So she's conjuring up old stuff. She's telling a story. Okay. That is strong fight game right there. Okay. So what I wanted to point out there is if you want to see an indicator of what kind of champion someone's going to be, see who they call out with their very first title defense. Sometimes someone's trapped in a rematch. You're going to have to do a rematch. Well, and to be honest with you, she's trapped in a rematch. And she still called out Ronda Rousey. Being trapped in a rematch is actually irrelevant. You should always be calling out the biggest fighter with your first title defense. And, so if someone wins the championship, like look at Charles Oliveira. He wants Conor. It's good fight game, dude. I mean, it's obvious. In Conor's case, it's obvious. You actually almost can't even give him credit for that. But when you think about other champions, just watch, just see what they do. When they win the championship, who is their first call out? If they don't call anyone out, then they don't know shit about what they're supposed to be doing. That's just straight up. Like, if they're not trying to pick their opponent, then they don't understand the position they're in yet, right? Or they're stupid. One of the two. Probably they just don't understand how the game works yet. They'll if they defend a couple times, they start seeing what check comes in. They're like, oh, yeah. Or they have, if their manager hasn't explained it to them, I mean, what exactly are you doing to earn your money? So there's that. So always look out for who the person calls out when they first win the championship. Now, here's the other thing. Is there any chance that Ronda comes back? Okay. Now, she's given no indication that she wants to come back, right? Like none. But if she still is hungry, who knows what she's doing? Yeah, I mean, she does WWE. I have no idea what money looks like for her. I no idea whatsoever. I don't pay attention to WWE, so I have no idea if she's still been active. I have no idea if what they make. I don't know if it's like $1 million a year, if it's like $20 million a year. I have absolutely no idea. So I don't know if the money thing is a thing, because I would imagine Dana would pay her a lot of dough to come back. You could pay if Ronda was going to come back and you paid her, a Dustin Poirier base, a $5 million base, I guarantee that'll pay off. You know what I mean? Like, that's going to pay off. Ronda will sell. Stop blowing me up with these notifications. Jesus. But yeah, she just had a kid though, right? Like, she just had a kid. She had a kid in September. So October, November, December. Jeez, man. 4 months ago. So, I mean, if I know how that experience goes, she's probably just dealing with like getting her body back in shape just to be like a normal person, much less like getting in fight shape to go down to 35 and fight Juliana Pena. But you never know. And if you're Ronda Rousey and you're looking at the landscape at 35, you got to like what you see. You got to like it a hell of a lot more than trying to go fight fucking Amanda Nunes again after she, decapitated you last time. And Holly Holm is kind of like not really in the mix. Like there are people at 35 that are not like heavy strikers. Like, I mean, Juliana Pena is a dream matchup for Ronda Rousey if she wants to come back and win the belt, right? And here's the other thing about that, right? So if you're UFC and you're worried about her coming back and then winning and then kind of not really defending and relinquishing the belt, who cares, dude? Like right now, who cares? You know what I mean? Like, seriously, like, who cares right now? Juliana Pena is the champion. You're operating under the assumption she's not going to be a champion for very long anyway. Now, I'm not saying that she won't. I'm just talking about if you're the UFC brass, and you're looking at it, you're like, is she going to be like a long-standing champion, or is Amanda Nunes probably going to train next time, come back and beat her up? I mean, you're guessing that Amanda will probably win the title back if she's still dedicated to the sport. So if Ronda Rousey came back, won, and then relinquished the belt, who cares? And if Juliana Pena beats Ronda Rousey after she's beat Amanda Nunes, which is totally fair, I mean, totally possible, even maybe probable given the circumstances, now you got a star on your hands. So I guess it just comes down to Ronda. Is there any chance that she actually does it? I have no idea. So I have nothing to add to that. Now, I will say this, though. I'm going to go live in a little while. I'm going to talk about some things because Dana White, in his press conference last night, talked about monoclonal antibodies and now your inability to get them after he talked about the treatment. And I experienced that this week. And having known about 10 people who got monoclonals early on, and it cured them, or not cured, whatever, like immediately they started feeling better. Immediately, inside 6 hours. The only person I know that got him and it didn't work was Diego, and he was already too far in. You have to get him early. You have to get him early on. But I know multiple other people in the industry that as a matter of fact, one that I recommended it to, who started feeling better 6 hours later. And all of a sudden, federal government took him over, and you can't get them anymore. Like, literally can't get them. Like, cannot get them. We called everyone, cannot get them. It is absolutely infuriating. Like, because when you're sick, you want to get better. Even if you're not concerned for your life, like, you want to get better. And so I'm calling around for this treatment I know works, and I can't get them. I cannot even explain to you how infuriating that is, and especially when you know exactly why. But anyway, I'm going to go live and talk about that later. So if you like the content, subscribe and ring the bell. Look out for me going live later. Love you guys. Peace.